Have you ever fantasized about the day that narcissistic person will beg for your attention? If you just felt a mix of guilt and satisfaction, it means your soul is screaming for justice. Carl Jung discovered that super empaths have a devastating power that narcissists fear. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to use this weapon. And it doesn't stop there. You also feel guilty for hating someone who should love you, right? It could be your mother who always diminishes you, your partner who manipulates you, your sibling who humiliates you, or even your boss who treats you like trash. You keep fantasizing about the moment when that person will realize how valuable you are, but then you feel terrible for having these thoughts. And there's more. How many times have you caught yourself imagining them apologizing? How many times have you daydreamed about them recognizing they were wrong? How many times have you fantasized about them finally treating you with the respect you deserve? But then comes the guilt, right? I shouldn't think like this. I'm a bad person for wanting this. I should just forgive and forget. You feel like you're two different people, one who wants justice and another who feels guilty for wanting it. Here's the truth. This internal war you feel is the direct result of the programming they implanted in you. They taught you that having boundaries is being selfish, that defending yourself is being cruel, that wanting respect is being demanding. Look, if you're feeling this way, you're not a bad person. You're a super empath who was conditioned to believe that your sensitivity is weakness. But Carl Jung discovered something revolutionary. Conscious empaths are narcissists' nightmare. They know this, and that's why they work so hard to keep you small, guilty, and confused. Your anger isn't sin, it's proportional to the abuse you suffered. Wanting justice doesn't make you like them. Actually, it's the first sign that you're awakening to your true power. Carl Jung discovered something that 95% of people don't know. Narcissists have a mortal fear of conscious empaths. You know why? Because you can see through their masks. You feel the rotten energy behind the pretty words. You detect lies before they even leave their mouths. Have you ever had that feeling that something was wrong, even when the person was being nice to you? Have you ever felt a chill in your stomach when someone complimented you, but you knew it wasn't sincere? Have you ever noticed that certain people leave you exhausted just from being near them? This isn't paranoia. This is your empathic gift working. You're picking up the real energy behind the mask. And that's exactly what they fear. That's why they chose you as a target. It wasn't chance. It wasn't bad luck. It was strategic. They needed to break your power before you realized you had it. They needed to convince you that your sensitivity was a defect, when in reality, it's your greatest strength. Jung explained that empaths are like canaries in coal mines. You detect toxicity before it becomes visible to others. You sense manipulation before it becomes obvious. You perceive falseness before it's exposed. And you know what a narcissist's worst nightmare is? Being truly seen, being discovered, having their mask ripped off. And conscious empaths do exactly that just by existing. Jung knew that empaths have direct access to the collective unconscious. You feel what others hide. You perceive patterns that others ignore. You're walking lie detectors. And narcissists hate this. Here's the truth that will set you free. You're not a helpless victim. You're a super empath who was deliberately disarmed. But now you're going to learn how to use your weapons. This isn't revenge, it's intelligent self-preservation. It's not becoming like them. It's using your empathic nature as shield and sword. Carl Jung called this shadow integration. You're going to stop projecting your power onto others and start reclaiming it. Now I'm going to show you the 4 strategies that Carl Jung would use for a super empath to protect themselves and, yes, make a narcissist squirm with discomfort. It's not cruelty, it's the natural consequence of their own behaviors. If you're tired of being an emotional doormat and want to learn how to use your sensitivity as shield and sword, you've found your tribe. Thousands of people here have already learned to transform their weakness into superpower. If this makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel. This is how this community of empathic warriors grows, and this is how more people discover they don't have to be victims forever. The first strategy is what Jung would call conscious projection. You're going to reflect their behavior back, but in a calculated and intelligent way. When a narcissist criticizes you, they expect you to defend yourself, to justify yourself, to beg for approval. But you're not going to do that. You're simply going to mirror their energy back. For example, if your mother says, "You're fat," instead of defending yourself, you respond with the same cold tone. Interesting observation. If your partner insults you, you don't yell back. You just look and say, "What strange energy you're emanating today." Or imagine your sibling trying to humiliate you in front of the family. Instead of crying or running away, you simply look at them and say, "You seem to need this more than I do." They'll be completely bewildered. This leaves them completely disoriented because they can't provoke you. They can't suck your emotional energy. You become a mirror that reflects their toxicity back to themselves. Jung said this forces the person to confront their own shadow. Narcissists hate seeing their own reflection because that's exactly what they spend their whole lives running from. The beauty of this strategy is that you're not being cruel. You're just reflecting the energy they projected first. You're showing them what it's like to be on the other side. The second strategy is what Jung would call withdrawal of projection. You're going to stop giving them what they desire most, your emotional energy. Narcissists are emotional vampires. They feed on your reaction. Whether it's anger, sadness, fear, or even love, they need your energy to feel alive. When you withdraw this energy, they panic. This doesn't mean ignoring completely. It means becoming emotionally neutral. You respond with, "Okay, I understand. Interesting." You don't engage in the drama they create. You don't take the bait. Imagine your narcissistic mother trying to provoke you with malicious comments about your appearance. Instead of crying or arguing, you simply respond, "Okay, noted." She'll intensify the attacks because she's not getting the reaction she wants. But you stay firm in your neutrality. Or think about your ex-partner sending dramatic messages trying to make you feel guilty. Instead of responding with a dissertation defending your feelings, you simply respond, "I understand your perspective." They'll go crazy trying to provoke you. Here's the secret. This neutrality isn't coldness. It's protection. It's you consciously choosing where to invest your precious energy. It's you refusing to be fuel for their drama. This strategy is devastating because it forces them to confront the internal void they spend their whole lives trying to fill with others' energy. Without your energy, they feel non-existent. Jung said that when you stop feeding a dysfunctional pattern, it dies naturally. You don't need to fight against it. You just need to stop feeding it. The third strategy is what Jung would call objectification of the shadow. You're going to silently document all their inconsistencies, lies, and manipulations. Narcissists depend on gaslighting to keep you confused about reality. They count on the fact that you won't remember exactly what happened, but you're going to change that. Start taking notes, whether on your phone, in a notebook, or recording audios for yourself. Note the dates, what was said, how it was said, who was present. Note the contradictions. Note the lies. This isn't paranoia, it's protection. You're creating an anchor in reality. When they try to convince you that you're crazy, you have the facts recorded. And here's the devastating part. You don't need to use this information against them. The simple fact that you're documenting already changes your energy. You become a scientific observer instead of an emotional victim. Jung said that when you observe something consciously, you automatically separate yourself from it. You move from the role of unconscious victim to researcher of your own experience. The fourth strategy is what Jung would call re-establishment of archetypal connection. You're going to break the isolation they created around you. Narcissists work systematically to isolate you. They badmouth you to other family members. They convince you that your friends are no good. They create a world where only they exist as a source of validation. You're going to reverse this strategically. Start reconnecting with people who truly see you. It could be a cousin who always understood you, an old friend who knows your true essence, or even a therapist who validates your experience. But do this silently. Don't announce it. Don't justify it. Simply re-establish these connections. When the narcissist realizes you're no longer dependent on them for validation, they'll panic. They'll try to sabotage these relations, but you'll already be too strengthened to fall into that trap. Jung said that the antidote to manipulation is multiple perspective. When you have several people validating you, it becomes impossible for a narcissist to distort your reality. Carl Jung understood that this transformation isn't about becoming cruel or manipulative. It's about integrating your shadow consciously. It's about stopping giving your power to people who don't deserve it. Jung said that every empath has a warrior shadow that was repressed. You were taught that kindness means being a doormat, that love means accepting abuse, that forgiveness means having no boundaries. But here's what Jung really understood. True compassion sometimes requires toughness. True love sometimes requires rigid boundaries. True forgiveness sometimes requires consequences. You're not becoming like them when you use these strategies. You're becoming whole. You're integrating parts of yourself that were rejected and repressed. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming who you really are, not who others want you to be. And part of this process is recognizing that you have the right to defend yourself, to have boundaries, to demand respect. You know what's the difference between you and a narcissist? You feel remorse when you hurt someone. You question yourself. You have real empathy. They have none of that. When you use these strategies, you're not losing your humanity. You're protecting it. You're creating a safe space for your true essence to flourish. Jung knew that conscious empaths are natural healers. But you can't heal anyone if you yourself are bleeding. You can't help others find their power if you gave yours to those who don't deserve it. The result? You stop attracting narcissists because your energy changed. You stop accepting crumbs of affection because you know your worth. You stop feeling guilty for having boundaries because you understand that boundaries are self-love. And here's the most beautiful part. When you become a conscious empath, you inspire other empaths to do the same. You become a living example that it's possible to be sensitive and strong, compassionate and protected, loving and respected. But attention, these strategies are not for use with violent or dangerous narcissists. If you're in a situation of physical abuse, your priority is to get out safely. Seek professional help. These strategies are for emotional narcissists, manipulators, people who use guilt and blackmail to control you. And even then, use them intelligently. Observe the reactions. If the person escalates aggressiveness, back down. Your safety always comes first. Sometimes, the best strategy is simply to walk away completely. Jung always said that wisdom is knowing when to fight and when to retreat. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to protect yourself. You just discovered that you don't have to be a victim forever, that your sensitivity can be your greatest strength, that conscious empaths are too powerful for narcissists to manipulate. This isn't about revenge, it's about justice. It's not about becoming like them, it's about becoming who you really are, a super empath who knows their own worth. If this touched your soul, share in the comments which of these strategies made the most sense to you. This community grows when we share our experiences and support each other. And if you want to continue this awakening journey, the next video you need to watch is about how to identify a covert narcissist before they destroy your self-esteem. You'll understand the subtle signs that only empaths can catch. You're not alone in this fight. You have an entire community of empathic warriors here, and together, we're unstoppable.